Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be performing the first wash of my brand new Honda Civic FL5 Type R. Alright guys, so it's actually January 5th today. I picked the car up, or rather had it delivered here on the 21st of September. And as you can probably tell, since then it has just been sitting here inside and outside getting dirty. I haven't had any time to wash it, to prep it, because obviously I want to full PPF the car before I drive it. So now I've got a bit of time, so I'm going to try and wash it, and let's see if we can get some wrapping done so that I can actually drive it this year. So let's start with the process. I'm using some Gtechniq citrus all-purpose cleaner. You can see that there. I haven't diluted it. I'm using it straight. It's safe to use straight. And we're going to spray the whole car. To make it easy, I've got one of these little electric sprays. You can get these from AliExpress for nothing, 20 bucks, 30 bucks. Awesome. And we're going to spray the whole car with this because it's been sitting around for a while. There's a lot of debris and dirt and stuff. So we're going to use that to kind of soften that up before we take it off. So let's get spraying. There we go. Let it just build up a bit of pressure. Come on. Why is it not working? Boom. Oh, there you are. All right, so just adjust it a bit. This is real life, guys. Stuff happens. There you go. Nice little mist. This is awesome, guys. Time saving. I'm just going to quickly go over the whole car. Oh, look, as you can see, the stickers are still there. We should probably remove those in a bit, but we'll do that in a sec. Whoa, there's like some spiders there. Go all around. Oh, this is awesome. This is actually my first time using this for a car. Usually we've been playing with them for PPF installation, for hot water. Problem we found was the pressure wasn't quite there. They work fine, but to flush out edges and stuff, you want something with a bit more pressure. So we just use an outboard motor setup instead, like we do for spraying slip. I wouldn't use this for spraying slip. It's not enough pressure, but for 20 bucks, this is awesome. You can use it for window tinting, I think. Awesome. Go over the whole car. Now, I haven't diluted this. I'm using it straight because it is safe to use straight. You wouldn't use it straight all the time and everything because it's a waste of product, but for initial once over, it's good. Now, you may have noticed the wheels on the car are mismatched. If you ever want to know what E46 M3 wheels look like on a Civic Type R, here we go. The original wheels are off the car because they were getting powder coated a different color. That's all done, so I'll put those back on later. It's been a few minutes. It's the Gtechniq citrus all-purpose cleaner has been on the car. It's kind of run off, stayed there, softened some of the dirt. So now we're going to foam the car to just release it and then pressure wash the car to remove that dirt. You could just pressure wash it after this, but I think using a foam is probably better, will help neutralize some of this and make it easier to clean, as well as the foams will actually lift some of the dirt up. So the APC has kind of softened and emulsified the dirt, and the foam will help lift it and it'll rinse it off so we don't scratch the car. Look, to be honest, it's a brand new car. I'm not too worried about putting some minor swirls and stuff in there because we're going to polish it anyway, but it's always good to preserve clear coat where possible. Foam, I'm using the Sonax Extreme Rich Foam Shampoo. Haven't used this, actually no, I have used it before in the small bottle. This one foams up really well. It's pH neutral, which doesn't really matter here, but I thought let's try it and see what it's like. We'll be using it at 1 to 10, so let's get my little Foam Lance bottle. That's a litre, so let's put 100 ml, give or take in there. Yeah, that's about 100 ml. Let's add a bit more for good measure. Let's fill it with some water and get going. We've got the Foam Lance on here, on there. Now this is just a cheap Foam Lance from AliExpress. That was 20 or 30 bucks. I've used a lot of them. I've used the Mosmatic one, which is a lot more. And yeah, it's a little bit better, but I bought a whole bunch of these because you know what, they break. These new generations have this kind of nice, easy to fill lid. I like how it's clear, it's easy to see, it looks kind of cool. And you know what, you can buy 4 or 5 of them for the price of one Mosmatic or similar, and then 99% is good. The foam from them is great, as you'll see. So I was like, well, let's just get these. And then what I like about that is actually we have a few different foam lances with different solutions in there. So we might have one dedicated to brake buster, one for a specific type of shampoo, one for something more aggressive, and so on. So let's play with this, adjust this to the max setting or min, let's play around, but let's start foaming. Well, guys, can't complain about that. That looks pretty good. Probably might need to mix this up a little bit more. This is on the plus setting. Let's go to full minus. I'll go to full minus to show you the difference. This is on minus. So obviously, just more water. If we go to the full plus, that's what you want. Awesome, heaps of foam. Well guys, for what, 20, 30 bucks, whatever this foam cannon was, might even be less from AliExpress, you cannot complain about that. That looks great. Yeah, is a $100 foam cannon better? Maybe. I've got one here. Here's one. It's a bit nicer here. This feels a bit nicer. That is quite nice, to be honest, but I don't know, it's nice to have one, but then have a few for different purposes, and to have backups and for mucking around. You know what, I'll put some in here and let's see the difference. All right, so some of the foam on the front there is running off now. I've got the Mosmatic cannon on. Let's put this on the full plus. Let's play with this. All right, straight away you can see that is a lot better. The foam is a lot thicker. It might need some adjustment on there. Maybe it's got the wrong orifice, but $100+ versus $20. Yeah, nah, I don't think it's worth 5 times the price. I'd rather have 5 foam cannons. I've got the pressure washer. I'm going to now pressure wash the car. This is safer than pressure washing without any foam or rinseless wash or anything beforehand. A lot of people will pressure wash the car as the first step when it's dirty. You shouldn't do that. You want to encapsulate or emulsify the dirt to help lift it. Otherwise, with a pressure washer, you can theoretically scratch the surface if you are blasting the dirt all over. So let's pressure wash this car. Oh, another quick tip before I continue. When you're using these interchangeable guns and tips and things like that, best practice is once you put the tip in, or the wand or whatever, put it in, make sure it's in there nicely. So get it, do not point the car. Point away from the car and test it. The reason being, just in case you haven't put it in properly, the last thing you want is to press the trigger, pull the trigger, and it go flying out and put a dent in your car. So go away, it's working, now go to the car. Now it's time to actually hand wash the car. You can use shampoo, rinseless, whatever you like. I'm gonna use the DIY Detail rinseless because it works, we've been using it. It means I want to pressure wash the car again and it's just quicker. We've been using it for a while, it works really well. So we'll give the car a quick rinseless wash now. I'm not too precious here, guys. I'm just cleaning the car. There's still some residue and stuff like that on the car that will come off later. And bear in mind the car will get polished, washed again. So yeah, this is the initial prep. Everyone has their own process. And to be honest, my process varies all the time, depending on how I feel. Today I felt like using rinseless, so I'm using rinseless. Sometimes I feel like using shampoo, so I use shampoo. Let's see if we can remove this. Oh, easy. Let's keep this. Might add value to the car. Inside there. Yeah, now some of you guys are going to be like, oh, but under the plastic didn't get decontaminated with the Gtechniq. Yeah, whatever, who cares? These buckets are from Snow Foam Australia. They're ridiculously expensive, but they look so cool, you know, being clear and stuff. I wish they didn't have the stickers on there, but they look really cool, so I bought them. If you buy them as a kit, as a pair, with the dollies and the grit guards, they're not too bad price-wise. I did look on direct from China, and yeah, you can get them direct from China, but they're actually more expensive because of shipping. I think because they're polycarbonate, that's what makes them expensive. I'm using a wash mitt here. I don't know what brand it is, just a micro rubber wash mitt. They're all pretty similar. You can get to the minutiae of it if you like. I just want to wash my car. I'm not using it as a mitt though. I'm just using it as a, you know, on top. It's more comfortable that way for me, and means if I need to, you know, if someone attacks me and I'm getting into a fight, I don't have to struggle with the glove. It's my hands are ready to go. Or rather, if someone calls me, you know, no one's thankfully no one yet has come here to pick a fight with me. You can clean these grills, do that later. They're not dirty anyway. Awesome, that is done. All right guys, so now after I've washed the car using the rinseless wash, I used the DIY detail stuff. It's very good, similar to Optimum No Rinse, McKee's. They're all pretty good. I'm going to use the fallout remover. Now I'm using the Auto Glim fallout remover for this. This one doesn't turn pink, but this is a first step I like to do before using one that turns pink, like CarPro IronX is what everyone uses. The reason I do this is because this stuff is cheap. It's about 1/5 the price of the stuff that turns pink, and I like to use this as a pre-fallout remover to help dissolve everything else. This stuff is mildly acidic. It works really well. So I'm just going to spray the car with this and let it sit for a few minutes, and then rinse it off, and then we'll start with the purple color change stuff. Now I could use the electric sprayer for this, but I already had some in this bottle, so whatever. I'll probably regret it soon. Now I'm using the bottles and labels from Obsessed Garage. Hit and miss. They could be better. I think they're still a work in progress. They have been for a few years. They are quite comfortable and they do look great. So that's why we use them. I had the first batch and they were useless, the tips and everything. The sprayers have gotten a lot better over time. But honestly though, I think the pump up style pressure sprayers or electric sprayers now, so much better. The hand sprayers are fine for like small things where you're not doing a lot of volume. You know, some detail spray, but trying to spray a whole car with this, it's not bad. But as you can see, I'm swapping hands constantly. Otherwise you'll end up feeling very sore. And that's almost running out. But we've pretty much done the whole car, so that's fine. Now with this stuff, there's no color change indicator. I did test it once. I got some wheels and did one wheel with this, one without. Then I sprayed some color change iron remover on both wheels. And you can see the wheels that I had this sprayed on before turned far less purple than the ones that didn't have. So that told me that this stuff does definitely dissolve and move around the iron fallout. there. Bumper, you don't tend to get too much fallout on bumpers. It's mostly on the horizontal surfaces. And this stuff is slightly acidic, so don't breathe it in. But it's not too bad for you, it's not like wheel acid. But I'm hoping, because it's slightly acidic, it will help dissolve some of the water spots in the car. Cool. So we've sprayed the whole car. Let's let it sit for a few minutes and then rinse it off. All right, we've rinsed off the car with the Auto Glim Iron Fallout Remover. I've got myself a little clay towel here. You can use a clay bar, clay towel. Again, these are all fairly similar. I've got a lot of these. I've put it in the rinseless bucket just to keep it wet. I will be throwing this rinseless out after using it. We're gonna use this to help clay the car. But before that, we're gonna actually use some Iron Fallout Remover again on the car. And this time, I'm using this stuff, Bowden's own 3-way. Now this is a color change fallout remover like Car Pro Iron X. That's the one everyone states. I can't think of any others. The reason I use the Bowden's own 3-way is because you can buy it in bulk. You can buy a 20-litre pack of it. That's a 5-litre one, but you buy 4 of them for 20 litres. So great value for money. It works as a clay lube. It works iron remover. I think it removes a bit of tar as well. Wax and grease remover. And the cool thing with this, it doesn't damage your rubbers. In the past, using Iron X or using iron fallout removers that are specifically wheel cleaners on certain rubbers on certain cars, Golf Rs, Ford Focus RSs, they tend to stain the rubbers. This stuff doesn't do that. In fact, this stuff is so safe that you can use it in the sun, let it dry out, and it still won't stain. So that's why we use that. And it's also a little bit thick, so it tends to cling to the surface. Now this time, because I'm feeling lazy or sensible, whatever you want to call it, I've used the sprayer. I've just run some water through it to clean it out, and we're going to use this again on the whole car to spray it. Now here, you don't want to use too much because this stuff is expensive. It's very expensive. You don't want to use too much. So I want to be quite careful with this application. If you want to be really frugal or sensible rather, the way to do it would be to actually spray the wash mitt, not the wash mitt, the clay bar directly and then do that. But I'm going to spray the whole car with a light mist and let's see how that goes. So you're not trying to spray paint the car, guys. And remember, we're going to clay this using this as the lube, so this will help spray it out. Now, if it was a car that with really delicate paint, much like this red paint is very soft, and you didn't want to add any swirls or scratches from the clay, which it will do, you can just spray it on and then use a microfiber towel to spread it around and basically just avoid any decontamination using the clay towel. That's not optimal, but that can work in a pinch. Now, being a red car, you're not going to see much color change. You might see some on the floor, but yeah, that looks pretty good. Come on, turn off, perfect. Now, once that's done, we'll take this out of there, run it through some fresh water to clean it, and there we go. In an ideal world, you might use, have a couple of them. I've just got one for testing. I'll probably buy a few of them actually and have a nice setup. It just works so well and it's easy, and it's easier than using those compressed air ones. All right, so we've let it sit for a few minutes. We've got my clay towel. This clay towel has been used in a few cars, so it's broken in. You don't want to use a fresh one. You always want to break it in on some glass or something like that first. It's quite pliable and soft. Put it in the rinseless wash, make sure it's nice and clean. And now I'm going to just gently rub over the surface. And I don't know if you can hear that. Let me get close. See, it's not smooth. It's not rough, but yeah. Now I'm basically going over this like that, and you can go the other way as well, but no pressure. I'm letting it glide on the surface. Yeah, that you can feel that slightly rough there. So let's do this over the whole car. And then if needed, you can do a second step. I can actually see some little dark red patches already on this car. So that's good, it's working. Yeah, one there. Now it's good to periodically come back in the rinseless bucket, rinse it out, so anything that's picked up gets taken out into the rinseless. Again, brand new car, polishing it, doesn't matter too much, but it's always good just to look after things. There you go, I can see some spots there. They've turned dark red. Makes sense. I think these cars are built in Japan, sit at the docks, get transported. My car's been sitting outside here for a while, you know, mixer inside and outside. There's not a lot of industrial fallout in this area or trains, but you know, a lot of this is probably from before. We've clayed the whole car. Now it's time to rinse it. Before rinsing, I'm going to foam it using the Gtechniq citrus foam. Why? Because I've got some lying around. It's citrusy, so it should help neutralize this and again, help decontaminate everything as well. You could just use normal foam. The reason I'm foaming it, not just pressure washing it, is because it will help really remove all the residue of the iron fallout remover of the Bowden Zone 3-way in this case, and get into those nooks and crannies and really clean it nicely, rather just, you know, using just water. So let's mix this up at the 1 to 10 and go for it. Using another one of these $20 foam lances again, because they're 20 bucks. Oh, it's quite thick. Nice. Should probably label this bottle so we know what's in here. Gtechniq, if you're watching, if you can produce these stickers just as stickers to put on general bottles like this and spray bottles, that would be great. This stuff is quite thick, so I'm just gonna give it a shake so it mixes properly. Yeah guys, so the Mosmatic one is definitely better. I reckon buy the Mosmatic one and then buy a couple of these as well. It is nicer to use. Depends what you're using it for. Here, I don't need the foam to cling, but for some things you want the foam to cling, so it might be better. But this one, I reckon if I order it again and tell them to put the right size orifice in, I'm guessing this has a 1.4, probably is a 1.1 orifice, it will probably work better. But look, again, for 20 bucks, who's complaining? Like, that's ridiculous. I don't understand, guys, how people in China you can buy this for 20 bucks delivered, and it arrives in like 2 weeks. It's crazy. Awesome, let's let that sit and find something else to do in the meantime. Whilst we're waiting for the foam, just grab a little plastic razor and just gonna remove this sticker there. It was a bit tricky to remove. There you go. Awesome. Oh, a bit of residue, almost perfect, but we can scrape that off. So guys, we see a lot of brand new cars here, and we've had a few where we've seen scratches on the glass, deep scratches, and what they are from razor blades on the glass used to remove glue residue. You can use a razor blade, a metal one, on glass safely, but it's got to be sharp and honed and fresh, and you got to have some skill. Most people don't have the skill. I use plastic ones, takes a bit longer, but they're not going to scratch the glass, are they? Hell, they're not even going to cut me, watch. They're not going to cut me, so they're not going to scratch the glass, are they? And the foam is here, so it's acting as lubrication, and there you go. I've had my coffee, I've let the car sit for a few minutes with the doors open and let it drip dry a bit. Still a few little stains and stuff on there, that's fine. The next step now is to use some tar and glue remover. I'm using the Autoglim tar and adhesive remover. This is a commercial product, but you can get it from, you know, a G&G Sales brings it in Australia. There's no consumer version of this as far as I know. There may well be, but I don't buy the consumer stuff, but this is the professional one. Awesome. It has gone up in price a fair bit like everything has, but it's still good. The other stuff which is really good is the Auto Smart TARDIS. I've got that there as well. I use this because I like the smell of it better, and it's, you know, easier to pour, but they're both similar. Or you can use something like CarPro tar remover. Look, there's lots of various ones. This is a solvent base. It works really well. So yeah, I'm going to use this on the whole car. This is to remove any tar deposits, but more so to dissolve any glue, any adhesive that's on here from the stickers that are on the car. So we can actually, you saw that before, that we could feel. So we're going to use this to help soften it up, and then we'll wipe it off and then see how we go. So I've got some mixed up here, not mixed up, but use it straight in a spray bottle. This is one of those Quasar bottles in green to match that. These triggers are really good. I do love these spray bottles. I really like them. I think they're the best. They're very solid. They can be sprayed upside down. To be honest, I bought the Pressol ones from Obsessed Garage for aesthetics. I think from a practical perspective, these are better. Some people don't like the double pump sprayers though. But we're going to go and just spray this liberally on the whole car. I think this sprayer though is kind of in need of replacement. It's not spraying that well. But that's what happens. Any spray that uses solvents, that uses a solvent here, over time the seals will give way and they won't spray as well. But that's fine. What you can do if you're doing this at home, best practice is to pour it into a bottle, spray it, run some fresh water through the sprayer, and then pour the leftover back in the container. We go through a lot of this, and we always have spare sprayers everywhere. I'm not using an electric sprayer for this because no need. We don't want to use too much because it's expensive and it's very wasteful. Now with tar, you need to spray the bottom. That's where most of the tar will be. But this is a brand new car, so there's not going to be much tar from the road on this, is there? Now, one important thing is don't get this tar remover on your clay towel, because it will basically melt it. So don't use this as a clay lube. You can use iron remover as a clay lube, but not tar remover. Now, after doing this, you can wipe it, pressure wash it off. If the whole car was covered in glue, you'd pressure wash it off, or you'd use the actual Auto Glim high, kind of like the really high strength glue remover, and then pressure wash it off. I'm probably not going to pressure wash this off, just because we've done that enough times in this car now. No point wasting more water. We're just going to let this sit and then kind of dry it off. Not dry it off, wipe it off. The car will get one more rinse later on, but not right now. So awesome. This is nice. Now let it sit for a few minutes and do its thing, kind of just softening all the adhesive. So I've sprayed the Auto Glim tar and glue remover on the car, let it sit for a few minutes, got myself a nice microfiber towel, and we're gonna wipe it off and just look at any bits with some adhesive and clean it up. There you go, it's gonna wipe it. And this is a solvent product, so it will, if you don't wipe all of it off, it's not a big deal. Yeah, it's dry now. The car's looking a lot cleaner already. See, there's a bit of glue residue there. So just give it a bit of a rub. A lot of glue residue here, so there you go. Lightly wiping it, it's coming off. No need to use blades on that. You could use a plastic blade, but you will scratch the paint. And we have seen that a lot on brand new cars. So chemical glue removers where possible. A lot here is there as well. I will remove this vent a bit later when we PPF the bonnet. Yeah, there's a lot of glue residue on the car here actually. Might have been easier just to use the intensive glue remover and then pressure wash it off, but that's fine. It's not too much. Normally when you get a brand new car, you won't have this much glue residue on it, if any, because the dealership does it. But I asked them to not touch the paintwork. And I'm glad, because it's basically undamaged. I can see on the bonnet some rotary holograms, sanding marks, which is fine. That would be from the factory. All right, guys, so almost the final step in the process now is to use some water spot remover on the car to remove any contamination and minerals on the surface. This step isn't strictly necessary. I'm doing it because I've noticed a fair bit of water spotting on the car. Polishing will remove most of it, but there's a risk it might come back. So I'm just using this as a bit of insurance. We basically sprayed the whole car down with this, let it sit for a bit, and then wiped it off. You can see it's dried, left a bit of residue, and there's a bit of powdery residue on here. And yeah, there's still a bit of etching here and there, but the idea of this is that it removes any, actually removes the surface contamination, and then what's left behind is the etching, which can then be polished out. So it's simple, spray it on, let it sit for a bit, and after spraying it on, just wipe it off. And you'll never get all of it off, which is why we move on to the next step, which is a final wash. Next step is to remove the residue, neutralize any water spot remover that's on there, and give it a clean. You can just foam the car, wash it as usual. Just for fun, I'm going to be using some all-purpose cleaner. This is Sonax Multi-Star. Fantastic product made in Germany. We use a lot of Sonax products. Today we haven't. Actually, no, we used the Sonax shampoo in the beginning. They make the best polishes. It's an amazing company. Check our vlogs. There'll be some on there, information. But this is diluted at 1 to 5. I'm just going to spray the whole car with this and then rinse it off. This is slightly alkaline, so it will help neutralize the acid and just gives it a final kind of deep clean. So I've got using the double trigger technique, because I already have this mixed up in these spray bottles. Awesome stuff, got a real nice smell. You can use the Sonax Multi-Star on a variety of surfaces, interior, exterior. Works great as a wheel cleaner as well. And it's safe for you and for the car, which is very important. So after using the water spot remover, we wiped it down, sprayed it with some APC, and then rinsed it. You could have just washed the car instead. The idea being just to remove any APC, any water spot remover residue, and the car's looking great now. Now the final step is a final rinse using just a hose and deionized water. Now this is optional, you don't have to do this. I like to do it. We used deionized water to mix all our chemicals up, and I like to do a final rinse with deionized water. It means I don't technically have to dry the car because you're not going to get any water spotting, and it just means that when you do dry the car, if you get any little drips here and there, it's not going to cause any water spotting. And it's just a nice way to finish it off. So I've just got the hose here. I'm just going to literally just spray the whole car from top to bottom to rinse off any of the water, and once this dries, there'll be no water spots on here. So the aim is just to kind of flood the panel. So when you're dealing with a car with very soft paint, most of the damage, the swirl marks and stuff happen during the drying phase. So you can avoid that with this technique. Rinse the car with some deionized water and then, blow dry it. Use a blower to dry it. I know some people who use deionized water in their pressure washer. That's great, but you just go through the resin so quickly. It's just not worth it. It's not necessary. You could have it hooked up to your pressure washer, have it bypassed, and then use this for the last step. But I find that using a normal hose is better because it allows you to flood the panel more than using a pressure washer. And probably a good idea to do the door jambs as well. Might be a bit of residue in there. Not residue, might be a bit of water in there. There'll definitely be some soap residue in there as well. Again, this isn't strictly necessary, but if you've got it, use it. I recommend everyone If you're into detailing, get yourself a water deionization setup. They're cheap-ish, and they're just awesome. So nice to have. So that's it for this video. This is the first wash of my FL5 Civic Type R. Stay tuned for more videos, more content on this car, polishing it, PPFing it, modifying it, driving it. It's January now. I hope I can drive this car within the next week or so. I don't want to wait another 3 months. But from here on out, I'm just going to wait for the car to dry. I'm just going to let it naturally dry. You could blow dry it, tile dry it. I just can't be bothered. I've used the deionized water, so I can just leave it now. And once it's dry, I can wipe the car with some panel wipe and inspect the paint and begin the polishing process. But we'll cover that in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I endeavor to make more content around this car and some of my other cars as well. And leave any questions or comments below and I'll try to answer them. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Cheers.